It's time for Criminal Law 101
with criminal defense attorney Ken Eulo from the law firm of Smith Eulo
on 101.1 WJRR.
All right, Ken, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. How you guys doing this morning?
No complaints. It's only, we're only a couple hours into the show, first day of the week, and why complain?
Yeah, we were having a little football talk before we cracked the mics. Man, that was some good football this weekend.
It was, although my fantasy team didn't do so good.
Oh, God. You guys and your
won.
fantasy. Jeez,
My team finally won.
Oh.
Not both of them, but one of them.
All right, 22526, text line always wide open. If you have a criminal defense-related question for Ken, we'll be happy to put those in front of you. There were a couple, obviously, big stories I wanted to bring up, get your perspective on. Local tragic story with the convenience store clerk shooting and killing a customer that turned out to be an off-duty officer in Ormond by the Sea. And the guy given the excuse that he was, quote, having a bad day, therefore pumped 24 rounds into the officer.
Just a disgusting story.
Having a bad day. So this guy lands as your defendant, Ken. I mean, where do you even go with this? Your client.
Kind of like I alluded to before in one of our last discussions. I think that you have on video, unloading an entire, 12 rounds, then reloading another 12 rounds.
God.
All on video, basically confessing to the whole thing, right? This you guys keep giving me like the mental health stuff, right?
So you think that's what this guy's setting himself up for here, huh? Yeah.
I think that this is obviously going to be a lot of mitigation, a lot of getting mental health background stuff, competency, insanity, and trying to work out the best possible deal that you can. Not every case is a guaranteed. There's going to be no consequences, right? A lot of times you walk into these cases and it's just trying to reach a reasonable resolution. So, I'd have to go. We'd have to talk to the guy. We'd have to figure out what he had going on in his mind and try to figure out if there's any sort of anything that we can put out there. This is not an easy case, right? This is a case that's probably going to last a year plus. A lot of experts involved to try to get, something going on in terms of the psyche of this guy and try to figure out some sort of defense.
Right, gotcha. All right,
and that's where you heard me scoff at. That's where I hate it. And I understand why it's going to take a year, but all that taxpayer dollar for this.
Well, you got Ken looks at it from a different perspective as a defense attorney.
I know.
You got
so
better
man than I.
The other thing, just general question I had last Tuesday when the state of Utah officially brought the charges against the accused shooter of Charlie Kirk. They gave out that DA gave out a lot of information that seemed evidentiary in nature. Is that typical that they would show their cards like that in such a public way?
It's interesting, right? Because you have a jurisdiction here that's moving very quickly on all fronts, right?
Yeah.
For example, just to give you kind of an idea, like if this was in Florida, you wouldn't see formal charges filed so fast, right? There'd be a waiting period. The case would make it to a grand jury. Maybe you'd have some holding charges to keep the person in jail. At some point within 3-4 weeks after. But this thing is moving very quickly. And I think you have the court of public perception here with a lot of this stuff. I don't think it's necessarily typical to be so detail-oriented and kind of getting out there, but I don't think anything about the case is normal, right? It's the whole thing is different than the way a normal case would play out.
And so that's why they're fast-tracking it.
Yeah, it definitely seems quicker. They're moving quicker with everything. Talking about the detail, the fine details of everything. Talking, getting out there and filing this information. And I looked it up. Apparently Utah does the grand jury indictment as well, but they quickly did what's called an information. We have that in Florida as well, where the prosecutor just kind of bypasses and just files the charges.
Okay.
So that happened in this case where they just quickly, as fast as they could, moved forward and filed this stuff within, I think, like a week of
I think it was 3 days, and that's where I got.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this moved very fast. I get there's the court of public opinion. There's a lot of pressure on them in this stuff, but at the same time, the volume of detail that they gave out, I'm like, in 3 days investigation, I'm thinking, does this leave room for error to ultimately come back and cause issues down the road?
I gotta hope not.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think you have to also look at the manpower involved. I mean, you had the FBI. This is a ridiculously large-scale, airtight sort of investigation with agencies from across the country investigating this thing. I mean, when you're looking at like a local shooting, I mean, there's a lot of resources. I mean, every murder case that I've ever handled, you're going to see, a regular case, maybe 8 witnesses. Murder case has like 50 witnesses.
Right.
But when you start talking about a case of this magnitude, you might have hundreds of witnesses, right? Sure. So, I mean, I don't necessarily think that they're hurting themselves. I think that they just have so much manpower and so much resources dedicated to this.
Okay. We are talking with Ken Eulo. He's a criminal defense attorney with Smith Eulo here in Orlando. 22526, our text line, if you ever want to get a question in front of him. He's here every Monday.
I have one right here. By the way, if you want to directly email Ken, it's Ken at Smith, and then you spell out and. So Ken at Smith, A-N-D, Eulo, EULO.com.
All right. Is this a gun-related question?
No.
Okay. Can I get – you do have a gun-related question this morning?
Yeah, I have one of those too.
On that note, real quick, can you provide a little clarity on where Florida stands now in this whole open carry thing based on this case that just apparently changed a lot of things here in this state?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's interesting, right? I mean, I'm not sure if you guys read the whole backstory on what this guy did, but up in Escambia County, you have this guy that – literally was just standing there, gun on his hip, with basically a sign, constitutional sign saying, hey, I'm allowed to do this. This is legal. You got Florida statute 790.053, deals with open carry, first-degree misdemeanor, right? So he's basically going against this statute.
Openly challenging it.
Openly challenging it. I mean, this isn't a situation where a guy just thought he was in the right or something like this, and the police happened to catch him. This is a guy that's basically saying, arrest me.
And he was also running for political office at the time, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know much about that, but I do know that he was bringing this on. Like, he wanted to get arrested. He had the sign. Cops are like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
And the guy says, I'm taking this to the Supreme Court. I want to challenge this all the way up.
And it ended up going through the court ranks, right?
Yeah, and it's really weird how it kind of played out, because normally this doesn't happen like this. The judge sentenced him on the trial level case to a year of probation, but he suspended the sentence, and they certified this case up to the First District Court of Appeal and basically said, you don't have to do your sentence until we get a ruling on this issue. Which is interesting. Normally that doesn't happen. Normally you don't get a suspended sentence, but the court must have thought this had a chance.
So then comes another ruling that.
So the First District Court of Appeal comes out and says, "Hey, this statute 790.053 doesn't jive with the Constitution. It doesn't jive with the Second Amendment. So we have to look at all the history. We have to look at past people carrying guns, how people carried their guns, and we don't think this jives with the Constitution. So we find that, boom, 790.053 unconstitutional, and pretty much the sheriffs across the entire state of Florida now are allowing 790.053 stricken, and you can now open carry. The question, however, right, and I think it's a valid question, is obviously, I think a Supreme Court challenge or going to the Supreme Court's going to, because this just happened pretty recently.
Right. Yeah.
So this is going to play out even further. I mean, it's a win. It's a big win for people who want to open carry, but I don't know exactly what the end game is.
So it's not over yet, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Now, also keep in mind, there are a lot of places where you cannot open carry. If a private business says, "Hey, no guns are allowed in here," you have to, obviously where liquor and booze is sold, you can't do that, and a whole bunch of other things there. So
Know your law. Know the places.
Carrier beware, I guess, is the takeaway, right?
Also, it's either first district, second district, third district, fourth district. Although all the sheriff's offices are kind of going with this, and the fact that it is binding on all those different jurisdictions, I think that if you're thinking about doing it, just obviously be very careful right now.
Yeah, definitely, and know the laws of what places you can go in, as Pat and I were saying. This one says, this is at 22526, I was charged with a felony. We'll do this quick because I know we're good. We're good. I was charged with a felony in Florida, adjudication withheld. I believe we had one of these the other week. Does that mean I can possess a firearm and vote?
So there's a lot of sub factors on that. If you have a withhold of adjudication on a felony, you do not lose your constitutional rights, right?
Okay.
So the answer to that question is by the letter of the law, he's not a convicted felon if it is a withhold of adjudication. However, there are certain crimes out there that even if you get a withhold of adjudication, there can be temporary bans or suspensions, like, for example, certain domestic violence cases and things like that require a certain ban on firearms, even if you get the withhold of adjudication. So, to answer your question, just so you can be as careful as possible with that thing, you definitely would want to contact us so we can look at your case. Because I can't give you 100% answer based off of the information that you provide.
And to reach out to him again, direct email is ken@Smith you spell out Eulo.com, EULO.
All right, we got anything else this week?
Yes, we have one here. I'll try to summarize it. Ken, my dad was arrested, DUI, failed roadside sobriety test due to physical condition, was given breathalyzer at booking, blew .05, also gave urine sample. Still don't know the results. Public defender wants to plea out to reckless driving. I think he should fight it. What's your thought?
These questions come in, and I think it's tough, right? Because I'd have to look at the full fact pattern and have to, say, hey, how long has it been since, the breath test versus, the field sobriety? Was there a long gap? What did the situation look like in terms of how bad did the field sobriety look? That being said, a .05 shows there was some alcohol in the system.
But
right?
Under the limit, right?
It's under the limit, but, keep in mind that there could be a hour delay between getting to the breath center, right? So how much was processed in that hour? So I don't think it's a clean answer. I mean, there's plenty of cases like that where I would really suggest, hey, let's take this all the way. And there are suggestions on cases like that where I say, hey, a reckless withhold court costs, call it a day and get that sealed off your record might be the move. So it really depends. I mean, I think that you'd have to kind of get into an in-depth look. Also, you indicated that the urine test had not come back yet. I think we'd want to look at that as well.
Gotcha. All right, Ken Eulo from Smith Eulo, criminal defense attorneys here in Orlando and Central Florida. If let's give his email one more time, Taco Bob.
Direct email, or you can text us if you need it at 22526. It's Ken@Smith, ANDEULO.com. Ken@SmithandEulo.com.
Ken, we really appreciate you coming in here each week and telling us what you know on a whole host of things, because these stories and situations never ending. Never ending.
It's great to see you guys as always.
And it's helping out our listeners too, so thanks, dude.
Of course.
Lynch and Taco's commercial-free Workday Rock Block coming up next.
Lynch and Taco on demand. Download the iHeartRadio app.